Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. The season starts now. Tennessee going on the road in the SEC to take on Oklahoma. Going to be lots of storylines, a lot of narratives this week going into that football game. Right now, Tennessee is 6th in the AP poll. They're 4th in the ESPN Power Rankings. Those of you that like to follow the ESPN FPI, Tennessee now has a 73% chance of making the college football playoff, 17.5% chance of making the national championship game, and a 9.2% chance to go out there and win a national championship. Just wrapped up the morning show with Eric Kane. Man, I feel like this team, they've got something to them. I think they've got a chip on their shoulder. I think they know they're good. I think they've got a quiet confidence to them, and I think they feed off of their head coach, Josh Heupel. I have had this game against Oklahoma circled on my calendar going back to the preseason. Why? Is it because of Josh Heupel and his story with Oklahoma? No, but we're going to get into that in just a little bit. It's just because of the way the schedule laid out, right? You got a glorified scrimmage in Chattanooga. You got a glorified scrimmage in Kent State. I thought NC State would give Tennessee a little bit more of a challenge than they did, but they didn't have it in them, man. Tennessee goes out and they blow the doors off of NC State. Here we sit at 3-0, and I can rattle off numbers and records. I've done it all week long about passing yards and a half for Nico, scoring 50-plus in the first 3 games of the season. That's never been done in Tennessee football history. 37 points in a quarter, program record, 65 points at the half. That's the most by an FBS team in the last 20 years. They set a program record for total yards last week, 71 points. Most by Tennessee in the modern era. The Tennessee hadn't given up a touchdown. The defense hadn't given up a touchdown in 4 straight games. You got to go back to 1938 or 1939. This team is rolling right now, but the level of competition steps up on Saturday as we go to Norman, Oklahoma, and take on the Sooners. And again, just looking at the schedule there on the screen, I felt like this was kind of a launching point for Tennessee. You look at the back half of the schedule, you see Alabama, you see Georgia on the road. You can see how Tennessee could lose 2 games there. So if you lose to Oklahoma, I think you're looking at 9-3. Again, that's going into the season. As of right now, I don't think Tennessee loses a game until they go play Georgia on the road, but it all starts Saturday. You got to go out, you got to prove it, you got to play the game. And if you look at the numbers, man, it's interesting. It is interesting to see how things have shifted for Tennessee in this game against Oklahoma on Saturday night. Again, we can talk about weak opponents, we can talk about numbers, but going into the season, Tennessee was a 5-point underdog to Oklahoma. Now they are a 7.5-point favorite. That is a huge swing for Vegas to move Tennessee from that big of a dog to this big of a favorite. And again, ESPN FPI, you guys know I love it. I like to look at the odds, the numbers, the percentages. 40% chance. The ESPN FPI gave Tennessee a 40% chance if you go back to the preseason. Now, week by week, that shifted. After the week 1 win over Chattanooga, that moved from 40 to 49. Then after you go beat NC State, it goes from 49 to 66. As of right now, if you go look at the ESPN FPI, it's got Tennessee as a 71% chance to go win this game. But look, we know what the story is going to be about. College game day is there. The entire morning on Saturday is going to be filled with stories of Josh Heupel, Heisman Trophy runner-up, national championship quarterback. But then the real story is going to be that they turned on their forgotten son. They fired him as the offensive coordinator at Oklahoma. Why does this game really matter to Josh Heupel? We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about it. But as always, I need you guys to do me a favor and smash that thumbs up just below the video. It's quick, it's free, it's easy, it helps the channel, and I would greatly appreciate it. Also, if it's your first time on the Talkin VAWLS Network, welcome. We're not experts here. We're not insiders. We're not media. We're not journalists. We're not reporters. We don't pretend to be any of that. This channel is for the fans, by the fans. If you like what we do, make sure you subscribe. Click that bell for notifications. You're not going to miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. I had a fun morning show with Eric Kane. If you missed that, go back and give it a watch. Tomorrow night, Tuesday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, we're playing EA Sports College Football and talking all things Tennessee football with you guys in the chat. It's always a laid-back, chill show. Come check that out. You guys also have an opportunity to come on and go head-to-head with me. Wednesday night, Talkin VAWLS live at 7 p.m. Friday morning, change of plans. We're going live at 9 a.m., an hour earlier than normal. Coach Jay's got some stuff going on, so come hang out for that as well. But let's jump into it. Let's see what the week is going to look like, because Josh Heupel is going to avoid this at all costs. He is going to avoid talking about Oklahoma. He's going to be hammered with questions. But if you go back to SEC Media Days earlier this year, they were asked, Josh Heupel was asked about Oklahoma being on the schedule. Let's take a listen, because I think this is what you're going to hear a lot of. Let's hear what Josh Heupel said.
A lot of Oklahoma fans they remember your time very fondly and have followed you along as you become a head coach and watched your career. And I know that relationship with OU is a little complicated, but what was it like seeing, Oklahoma on the schedule in 2024?
Yeah, the relationship with Oklahoma really isn't complicated. I got nothing but great memories of the people and, my time there. I certainly do. And it's a huge, I got a chance to talk about Mike Leach a few minutes ago backstage in the interview. And, everybody there helped shape who I am and where I'm at today. And still got a lot of great friends and teammates that live back there. So, the opportunity to go back to Oklahoma, yeah, I wish they were coming to Knoxville first, but I say that jokingly, but looking forward to that opportunity. That's a long ways down the road, man. Focused on 23, but that'll be a unique day in my career, obviously, to go back.
So that was actually from 2023, but the schedule had come out, and he was talking about Oklahoma and going back, and he's talking about the memories and the relationships and, mentioning Mike Leach, but a certain name didn't come out of his mouth, and that's Bob Stoops. And that's where things get tricky. That's where things get interesting. Let's rewind time. Let's go back to 2014, Oklahoma coming off of a 7-5 season where Josh Heupel was the co-offensive coordinator, and this is what happened. Let's play the clip.
The last week, I've spent a lot of thought and consideration to every part of our program, and some things that I feel, moving forward that we need to change. Part of those have been announced. So Josh Heupel and Jay Norvell will not be returning as members of the coaching staff here next year. By no means does this mean these guys are it's their responsibility in the way the season went. By no means are they scapegoats. The bottom line is I feel moving forward, we need to go in a different direction. But again, these guys have worked hard here. They're great people. They're great family men, great character guys, and work hard. Integrity, everything. And they've contributed a lot here. We've had a lot of, excellent years and great games. And
have you ever seen somebody that projects, right? I didn't ask you if they were scapegoats. I didn't say, hey, are you firing Josh Heupel and Jay Norvell? Are they the scapegoats here? And you say, no, they're not scapegoats. No, but you just tell me. I don't even have to ask the question. You're just standing up there in front of the podium, and you say, I'm going to fire Jay Norvell and Josh Heupel, who are the co-offensive coordinators. And if you go look at the numbers, I said they went 7-5. They actually went 8-5 in 2014. And if you look at the numbers, Josh Heupel, and again, played at Oklahoma, transferred in there. They came off a 7-5 season, and Josh Heupel sat there and told his teammates, we're going to go out and we're going to win a national championship. And I love seeing some of the quotes from some of his teammates at the time that kind of looked at him like he had three heads, but he meant it, and they went out and they did it. He was a Heisman Trophy runner-up. He was a national championship quarterback. Then he coached under Bob Stoops for 9 years. He ended up being the co-offensive coordinators with Jay Norvell. Why is Bob Stoops sitting up there in front of the media saying, they're not the scapegoats? Well, you're saying that because they are the scapegoats. When Josh Heupel was the offensive coordinator at Oklahoma, that program never scored less than 32 points per game the entire time he was the offensive coordinator. The year he was fired, that 8-5 season in 2014, when Bob Stoops has to remind you that those guys aren't scapegoats, they were 21st in the country in scoring offense. They scored 34.4 points per game that year. Again, 21st in the country. Defensively that year in 2014, they were 56th in the country. They gave up 26 points per game. Who's the defensive coordinator? Well, it just so happens to be the brother of Bob Stoops, Mike Stoops. He was the defensive coordinator. Jay Norvell, Josh Heupel were the scapegoats. They fired their Heisman Trophy runner-up. They fired their national championship quarterback. They fired their offensive coordinator that, again, had never scored less than 32 points per game. Josh Heupel was, in fact, the scapegoat. Bob Stoops did Josh Heupel dirty. I said it this morning on the morning show. I went down a rabbit hole on Reddit from 2014, reading some of the Oklahoma fans' responses to it. Some of them were ready to move on and said, man, they were questioning play calling. That's what you do. That's what fans do. Anytime the offense struggles or a football program struggles, the first guys, the scapegoats, are always the coordinators. You always question play calling. But they also said they hated to see Josh Heupel go because he was a Heisman Trophy runner-up. He was a national championship quarterback. It would be like T. Martin coming back to Tennessee and being the offensive coordinator and Philip Fulmer firing him because Philip Fulmer's brother just so happened to be the defensive coordinator. They gave up 26 points per game, was 56 in the country. Josh Heupel is the scapegoat. So that is why this game means more to Josh Heupel. It means a lot to us because it's important for this 2024 season. It's important because it's the first SEC road game for this football team. For Nico, it means just a little bit more for Josh Heupel. And we've talked about how he's going to try to sugarcoat this and try to bury it and not talk about it. But we talk about the culture and the family that Josh Heupel has created. This game means more to our head football coach, and I think that locker room knows it. And I think they're going to come out Saturday night in Norman, Oklahoma with a chip on their shoulder. Josh Heupel has been on edge, and I think Josh Heupel is ready to go out and prove something on Saturday night. What are your thoughts? Jump into the comment section. Let's talk about it. Clearly, Bob Stoops with a little projection there back in 2014 calling not the scapegoat. Josh Heupel, these guys aren't the scapegoats. Jump into the comment section. Let's talk about it. As always, smash the thumbs up on the way out the door. Go check out the Talkin VAWLS merchandise at bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. Appreciate all you members of the channel. Could not do this without you. If you're not a member, you don't have a Power T beside your name, think about hitting that join button. You can join and support for as little as $1 a month. We say for the fans, by the fans. It's also fan funded. You guys give me the opportunity to do that morning show with Eric Kane and then turn right back around and drop this video a little bit later. So shout out to you guys. Couldn't do it without you. We appreciate it. But that is going to do it for this one. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.